agenda. All right, we'll move on to the minutes from the previous meeting. Just want to make one quick
amendment.
your amendment. Yep. States under attorney Courtney Butler on that first page.
She is not.
I make a motion that we approve the minutes from September
Second.
2nd as amended.
I can let her know she's an attorney.
Have a motion and a second to approve the minutes from September 2nd as amended. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, that motion will pass. Next will be ordinance and resolutions. Ordinance 1805, employee salary for 2026. If Daniel wants to add something to that, you want to?
Yes, I would like to hold off on first reading for both salary ordinances because I did not give these to the council at the last meeting. But I did want to just give a couple of highlights on them. For the employee salary, I increased the high end for almost everybody by the 4% growth quotient, but everybody's still within a range. And then for the elected salary ordinance, nothing changed on it except the number of pays for the mayor and the clerk treasurer because the calendar, our payroll calendar is back to 26 pay periods for 2026 instead of the 27 for this year. So there were no changes to that one.
All right, so table those into the next meeting, so we'll get it back into the other ordinance, which would be 1807. Authorizing and stating methods of payment accepted by the city of Butler on first reading.
And I need to thank Police Chief Tracer for bringing this to my attention because we were supposed to have had an ordinance like this a long time ago, probably before I started, and they wanted to start accepting Square so that they could use credit cards. And I thought, well, I need to amend the ordinance so that we can do that. There is no ordinance. So this is an ordinance stating the methods of payment accepted by the city of Butler. So we accept cash, check, bank draft, money order, bank card, credit card, and electronic funds transfer. The clerk treasurer is authorized to recover any fees, charges, or administrative costs associated with payments by bank card, credit card, or electronic fund transfers. We've had to actually do some math for the police department because Square charges a flat amount and then takes their portion out of what we enter in. So we're working on that.
That's been corrected.
Yes. So, do you want me to read the entire thing aloud?
So now there is like a percentage, like if someone would use a credit card, debit card, there is a fee that goes along with it.
Yes, there is a fee that we're adding to the Square fee. Our credit card machine here in the office adds it on for us. But the Square, the way that works, it does not. But we are now collecting that when they use it.
And the notice has been posted, so if somebody comes into the lobby or something like that, or the police department, and they want to pay with a debit or credit card, that notice of that fee is posted.
Yeah.
For public view.
I'll make a motion we adopt ordinance 1807, authorizing and stating methods of payments accepted by the city of Butler for first reading.
Motion and a second to adopt ordinance 1807 on first reading as presented. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, that motion will pass. Next one will be ordinance 1808, additional appropriations on first reading.
And if you remember, I briefly brought this up at the last meeting. The fire station needs to have a larger water line run into the building, and they would like to pay for it using these funds in fire cost recovery. So we don't normally budget from this fund, so we need to do an additional appropriation in order to use them.
What's the water line?
What's that?
What's the water line? Bigger?
Yeah. When the building was built, it was given a residential 2-inch line to supply that whole building. So the EMS side, the bays, all of the fill states, all of the, everything is supplied by a 2-inch line. So what we want to do is come off of the existing water main, go to the hydrant outside the building, come across and put a 4-inch line to do just the bays themselves. We'll leave everything else residential, and then the bays and stuff will be supplied with 4-inch line. And then we'll have one at both ends. That'll be our fill station, and all of our garden hoses and everything will come off of that.
So when you're doing your testing and stuff, it won't affect everything else so much.
Yeah, because right now it stands, we flush the toilet and the EMS in there, and we're washing the truck. The water doesn't make it to the truck.
Well, I should have everything by the next Board of Works meeting. I'm just waiting on, 2 contractors to give me a quote. And then there you guys can decide on which one we'll go with.
I make a motion, we approve ordinance 1808 for additional appropriations on first reading.
Motion and second to adopt ordinance 1808. As presented on first reading, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, that motion will pass. That's going to be ordinance 1809, proposed budget for 2026.
Okay, so if everybody looks in their packets, there is a sheet that's called Notice to Taxpayers with a blue line almost halfway down. This is the official public notice that will go on the Indiana's Gateway site if there are no changes that need to be made at tonight's meeting. It lists our budget estimate for 2026. It lists the estimated property tax revenue that we expect to receive. That's column 3. Column 4 is all zeros because we are not appealing anything. Column 5 is the amount that we are currently receiving in property tax revenue. And column 6 is the percentage difference. Now that is a little bit deceiving this year because we did reestablish the cumulative capital development fund and the fire equipment replacement fund. So those show a tremendous increase that is a little bit deceiving. And we are shifting some of our property tax levy from Park and Recreation up to the general fund. And we're also taking a little bit from MVH up to the general fund to help cover some changes. So if you look at the next sheet then, that is the actual budget ordinance as it would appear based on the public notice of notice to taxpayers.
What are we shifting MBH to general? What do we have in mind for it?
I put a little bit more in for health insurance to general fund. We're estimating we're gonna spend a little bit more money on IT infrastructure. And do you remember what else, Mike? It's all in the budget notes that I handed out at the last meeting. I believe it's a green sheet.
Yep.
So I just need to make sure that I don't need to make any adjustments before I post this on the Indiana's Gateway website.
And that's based on all the notes that we got last week.
Yes.
Did you guys get a chance to look at it?
Yeah, I'm looking.
Do you have any questions about anything in the budget itself?
Christie?
Is there a deadline that this has to be posted?
It has to be posted 10 days before our public hearing, which is scheduled for October 3rd, I believe. So I need to meet that deadline. I need to post it next Monday.
Is that kind of in October?
October 3rd is our public hearing. That's the first Monday. And then at the next meeting, well, whatever that first Monday is.
October 6th.
And then the meeting after that is where we need to approve the budget. This all has to be done by November 1st. So if we don't meet those dates, we will have to hold a special council meeting sometime in October.
This is just the first reading, correct?
Yeah.
I'll make a motion we adopt ordinance 1809, proposed budget 2026 on the first reading.
Motion and second to adopt ordinance 1809 on first reading. All in favor? All opposed? Hearing none, that motion will pass.
And if you notice something before next Monday that you question, please let me know, because I can still adjust it. Okay, that was all I had. Thank you.
All right, we need department report. We'll start off with Ron.
Okay, got two. One's just gonna be real short, just an informational thing. Working with Therma-Tru in the last couple of weeks here, they had an audit, safety audit, and they were asked to put up a couple windsocks around their building, their complex. So I went out, talked to them, and asked where to put them. And so by looking at it, some of the things that we had around there, we came up with a place for a couple of them. Well, they bought 4, so they donated one to the school, okay? So the school now is looking for an area there on the bus barns lot, preferably out there on that north, or check the southeast side, to put one so that we have early indication of stuff coming from the south and from across the second set of tracks as we're responding in the case of going up a hazardous material spill or a leak or even a train derailment, okay? So that's gonna be one of those early indicators. Well, in the process of talking to them, kind of got to thinking, we don't really have much around the city and around our surrounding community and stuff either for early indications. Now, we're trained to basically look for, anything like a flag or anything like that, but they're not lighted a lot of times and stuff, and sometimes they're not up at night. So we went out to, and I've been working a little bit with Air Products and SDI. Air Products has 2 of them on site, but it's for their own personnel. So I'm talking to them today when I took a tour. They said that they would be more than happy to put one up out by the road in an area and stuff that's gonna be, subsequent to less, the buildings around them causing wind current changes and things like that. So we're gonna do a little study and we're gonna find someplace to put it for them. And then the other one stuff will be maybe further down towards New Mill. So we're gonna put some along that line there because we have a lot of responding mutual aid companies that if I get that out to them, they're gonna be able to come in on like any kind of hazmat situation we call them on. And that's an early indicator for them and for us. So in talking to that, we thought, okay, maybe we could take it a little bit farther. So I'm gonna get with Andy and the mayor and some of the, the other department heads and find out if there's an area that we could put on our east, west, north, and south sides, so that anytime that we have, based on the fact that we have a lot of truck traffic and a lot of trains that have a tremendous amount of hazardous materials on. So when we leave the fire station, if we can go and put one to the west side of town, off away from the overpass and one towards the east side, we're gonna be able to tell what our wind directions and our speeds and stuff might be before we even get, down the road a little ways, okay? So if you see those coming up, it should be coming up probably in the next, say, month or so, hopefully get that taken care of. They're cheap, inexpensive, really, they're not much. So they're great indicators for us, and if they're willing to, some of these factories and stuff are willing to put these up, I'm more than willing to help put them up. So that's gonna be coming up hopefully very soon. And if you guys have any questions or even some concerns, let me know. We'll talk about it. We'll, if you got some places and stuff that might be a benefit for us, I'll definitely throw that out there. So, but that's coming up pretty soon. The other thing is that this weekend, Friday actually, we were called to do a fire pit inspection. Okay. Now we do that. Police department's done it. Fire department's doing it a little bit more because we have people readily available. And the fire pit was back at Northcrest Trailer Park. Okay. Now this is nobody's fault. This is something that has been basically overlooked because we really didn't do fire pit inspections and stuff. We just kind of issued them, and this is what you have to do and that kind of thing. Well, when the call came in, I actually happened to be in Kendallville. And so I called the guys and I said, well, let them know that we can't, okay? We cannot put a fire pit in Northcrest, okay? Well, I got a phone call then back. I think they called City Hall, they called me, and I explained to them. And basically the reason being, and I called Matt and he condensed down the Indiana State permits for open burning. It basically states, and I want you guys to be able to have this ammo to go and to explain to people, because you're gonna get some, because we're gonna pass these flyers out, or these papers out to everybody in these areas. State of Indiana says you cannot have one in mobile home parks, condominiums, and apartment complexes, okay? That's a state law. But that's one of those things, like I said, it was overlooked. It was adopted in 1995, so it's in IAC 326, I believe. That sounds right, yeah, 326. And it's about 27 pages long as far as our open burning policy. I found the one where it basically states that what we have put into this really nice little thing here. And Matt was great at getting this thing together pretty quick. I'll just let you hear what this is. And it's for residential open burning, and basically it is not allowed at apartment, condominium complexes, mobile home parks, and buildings with 5 or more dwelling units. And then, of course, it gives 4 counties and stuff on the other side of the state, stuff based on water, catch things and whatever. And then it goes into open burning rules, quick rules, and it just kind of states just the things that they can do and what they can't do. Now, one thing that I am working on, and I'm gonna call the state fire marshal's office to get clarification on this, but we wanna find out whether or not they can have gasoline-fired pits, okay? That has been something that has been thrown into, and they've accepted. I wanna find out if it still will apply for those places that are banned, okay? So if anybody does ask, tell them I'm working on that part of it, but as of right now, there won't be any more permits, given to those particular areas, okay? So like I said, if anybody asks, refer them to me, give them my number, and I'll explain to them and stuff. It's not something we're trying to do. It's not something that he's happy about that. We're not trying to do this because we're mean. This is state law. And one of the things that I was brought up to me, said, well, I have a place up in Steuben County and stuff, and we can have them up here all the time. And I said, what's the name of your place? And he said, Shady Lakes Campground. I said, there's your reason. It's a campground. Campgrounds with mobile homes are not, it's not a mobile home park. There's about 10 of them up there. So they go by the term campground, so they can get away with this, all right? So, just so you guys know that if anybody brings that stuff up, you know, it's not because we're, like I said, trying to be mean, it's just because, you know, we're kind of liable now. If we're gonna do these inspections and we're violating that state law, if something should happen, let's say they have something that blows under neighbor's skirting and burns their house down, you know, guess who's at fault? Yeah, so.
I just have one question,
Yeah.
When Ron and I talked about this, I was like, yeah, hooey, because the people that have the fire pits, they're kind of scary. Do the gasoline fire pits have to be approved too?
No,
They don't have to be?
basically because the UL has those already as a safe thing. And most of them all on small tanks and they're enclosed. So it's never been something that we've had a major issue with because it's the same as a gas grill. And it's saying, you know, and actually charcoal grills and gas grills are not allowed on the second stories of apartment complex.
You're talking about propane.
So anything tank related.
You said gasoline, I was like.
Yeah, I know, I remember you said
I know
that.
about these.
Gasoline. Can I start one?
So it's a little propane, or like they have the cute little stones and like propane that, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, and that's what I'm kind of actually looking to see if they are. I do know that they're not legal in apartment complexes. The open, the propane ones, they have no charcoal grills or anything. I get that, I do know. But as far as like out in the yard, I can't say for sure that that's not covered. That's an exemption. So, but as far as like open burning fire pits and things like that, that is definitely prohibited.
Yep.
So,
Send them to you.
yes, yeah.
But keep an eye on that sneaky one down the road for me.
And really, if you go down the road and I'm gonna get these because after I start issuing these, people are gonna say, why, you know, I've already, you know, had one for 25 years. I know, but.
Thank God nothing has happened in 25 years.
You know, it's true because, you know, trailers, I mean, they're close.
Yeah.
You know, they're very close together.
I don't think there should be fireworks there either.
Now fireworks are a different story. You can do them anywhere. So, any questions on any of that? That's all I got.
All right, thank you. Andrew?
I have nothing for council.
All right, thank you. Matt?
I got a couple of, two things. One, I'll piggyback on his, statement. We are currently working with some different ideas on how to rectify the situation where people currently have. People have already had prior approval, and not knowing these are in violation. So we are working on something to rectify that situation, okay? Obviously, nothing's gonna be perfect, but we are gonna work with people on any type of situation that come up. Got a couple of projects that we're currently working on. I don't have a lot of details yet, but I will get them to you as soon as I do. One is a scam and fraud prevention seminar that we're gonna be putting on with Farmers and Merchant State Bank coming up in November, tentatively. It'll be geared towards the older population, elderly population, the ones that are mostly targeted in these type situations. Once I know the details exactly of that, I will get that to the mayor and everybody else. Kind of let everybody know on that. It's gonna be free. Couple hours tonight. Pins being thrown. The other thing is, I already took it off, is I am working on a top for a day type, community event. And I'm gonna wait until I find out what, that's gonna turn out because we had some equipment that failed and we had to send it out to be repaired. So I'm kind of waiting to see what happens with that. So it's gonna be pushed off. That may be, after the first of the year. I had planned for October, but we've got enough stuff going on and then this kind of scam and fraud seminar that I'm working with F&M kind of came up and pushed priority ahead of that anyway. But there'll be a couple community events to, keep everybody involved. And that is all I have, sir.
Thank you. Braxton?
Only thing I have is for council tablets, and all new tablets, if you restart them or they shut down, it requires my PIN, just call me. I'll help you get it squared away. Let me know any issues you guys are dealing with. The only issues that, all the issues that I'm aware of that we're trying to fix require an MDM, which is a mobile device manager. Instead of using these accounts, that's gonna come after we fix emails and some other big ticket items I have, and then we'll be able to monitor those and properly, get those managed, certain permissions, something where you're not constantly asking me every time you restart it or it shuts down. But otherwise, let me know, and we're gonna be getting those sorted out soon.
Thank you. Andy?
I have nothing for the city council.
Yeah.
I have nothing for council.
Don?
Nothing for council?
You? Angela?
I have nothing else.
Thank you. Council, we'll start with Tracy, since you're by yourself.
I have nothing for council.
Thanks. Gail?
I have nothing for the council.
Darren?
I have nothing for council.
Christie?
Yeah. I don't have anything this time.
Well, I'll break the trend, I just have one thing. The Board of Works meeting, you heard me announce the special event for October 25th, that the park board and the Butler Main Street are tag teaming this year to do trunk or treat back in Actions Park. Gonna have a haunted trail, we've got a hearse lined up for display, just a lot of neat different things going on, so that puts us to trick or treat. They opted to go a week in advance with the trunk or treat versus having it November 1st on Saturday, because trick or treat or October 31st is actually on Friday night. That puts you at the second round of sectionals for football, so I kind of wanted to stay away from that. But we do need to set dates for trick or treat.
What's the times for the Main Street, for the
6 to 9 p.m.
6 to 9?
So our option is, do we want to go the same night they are, or do we want to have it on Friday night, Halloween as usual, and have trick or treat separated from, I just know trick or treat doesn't seem to be very popular, going to trunk or treat, stuff like that, so.
Trunk or treats are a lot more popular.
Yeah.
Because I think we all know that the citywide trick or treats.
That's
It's
why
almost gone
I'm
away. I mean, it really has.
I don't see any reason why we couldn't do it on the same
I don't either.
day, 10:25. Because like Darren said, it's not as much as it used to be. Most people like going all in one place, not running around like we did.
It's not as much people participating as it used to. So, I think we should do the same thing.
What time you thinking? We don't want to interfere with them, so.
6 to 9, I mean, we can do it.
4 to 6 then. Somebody make a motion then?
I'll make a motion that we have Butler City trick or treat on October 25th from 4 to 6 p.m.
Second.
Motion a second to have trick or treat October 25th from 4 to 6 p.m. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, that motion passed. Anybody in the audience have anything for the council? Slim Dickens tonight. All right, entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
7:30, meeting adjourned.